Hey guys, welcome to the video. So I'm out here today again with my HPI Vorza S Flux Buggy, and if you haven't already, please check out the first video where I attempted to take this out for a bash but had a crash and broke my rear bulkhead. The Draco shock towers are fine, no issues there, but yeah, I'm back out again to try and get some more footage of bashing and so on. So I did have some issues with the shock setup last time. I just used the same shocks that came with my second-hand D8 that I'm using parts for this platform. It's all quite complicated, but yeah, I've sort of pieced together a Vorza S Flux Buggy from parts that I had. So this is not actually a true Vorza S Buggy. It has the front and rear bulkheads from a D8, and then I bought the Flux chassis separately, and then of course I've added the Draco parts on top of that. So yeah, and I'm using my Vorza wing and my Vorza S Truggy wing, but that's the same between both Buggy and Truggy. It's all quite complicated, but anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to get some bash footage today, and then I'm also going to mess around with the shocks a little bit. So just a little history here. I don't drive buggies very often, so I'm not familiar with the setup as much as the larger scale stuff that I have. The last time I drove a buggy was, let's say, Kyosho Inferno VE that I bought maybe 8 or 10 years ago. So I haven't really messed around with them so much. But yeah, I find the suspension to be very stiff, and it seems to be like driving over the bumps really badly and jumping and very unstable. So I'm hoping to mess around with the shocks today, and I've bought my my Vorza S Flux Truggy shocks here, which are on the left, front and rear, and then I've got the front D8S shocks. Now, just a little bit about the difference here. So these are the new, from 2022, HPI released the Vorza platform, and the shocks are actually a new part number, and they use the same 4 shocks, front and rear. I mean, in my opinion, they should be longer in the rear for the Truggy, but yeah, they're using the same of them just to save cost, I believe. And then this is the front for the D8S, as I said, and I've got the rears installed in my buggy now, actually, with the same springs. I've got more springs here to play around with too. But yeah, you can see they have more thread on the body, and the body is much shorter than the newer generation. So I figured these would be more suitable for the buggy because they're shorter, and you know, that's what they originally came with. I did try to put these on the rear, and it just set up way too high. So I'm going to stick to these shorter ones for now and try to play around with the springs and yeah, see what happens. So yeah, I'm going to play around, get some footage, and bring you along, and yeah, hopefully we can work this out. All right, so I'm not sure of the oil here, but let's just start by showing you how it sits. It's kind of drooping at the back. I do have droop screws, but I haven't engaged these yet. I am just going to run it as is, see how it drives, and then try to work out what kind of changes to make. I mean, to be honest, suspension is my weak point. I'm more of a gear driveline kind of guy, but the suspension is something I do need to learn, so I'll try to be patient as I can, and let's see if we can work this out. Alright, so let's get into the first bash. Okay guys, Vorza S Flux Buggy with Draco Upgrades, let's check. Yeah, what is it now? Pissing me off. Okay guys, so after about 2 minutes of running, I realized there's some resistance in my driveline, and I pulled it apart and found that a screw had backed out. So yeah, I have disassembled the Draco Vorza motor mount. So as you can see, we have the split design here, which allows easy access to the center diff. So you don't need to remove the whole assembly like the stock part. Yeah, now I can just pull the center diff. I've already fixed it, but you can see I've replaced the screw. The screw had backed out and damaged the head, so luckily I could grab it with some pliers, remove it, and then I've replaced with another spare that I had. So just make sure you Loctite your Draco diff case if you have it. So if you do purchase a Draco center diff set from me, I do add blue Loctite to all the screws when I assemble it, so there won't be any issue there. But yeah, if you're using it for the Vorza, I would recommend adding the blue Loctite to all the screws going into metal. But if you're using a stock plastic one, you don't need to Loctite them, obviously. Alright, so yeah, I've fixed. Now I'll put this back into the Draco Vorza motor mount and continue going. So yeah, this mount allows easy access, so you just remove the top 4 screws, pull the top center plate here, remove the 2 top plates front and rear. You can pull the center diff out very easily. Alright, let's continue bashing. Okay guys, Vorza S Flux Buggy, the Draco Upgrades installed. Let's try to figure out this suspension. Alright, so running on flat ground, good steering, see that? I can turn pretty sharply. I feel like the rear is sagging quite a bit. I mean, when I turn, it really turns. See that? I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like the rear should be harder. Let's try some jumps. That was bad. Wait a minute. Try that again. Wait, okay. Jumps pretty good. Okay, so I'm not going to touch the front, but I am going to touch the rear a little bit. You can see it sagging, so I might change the spring. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay guys, so let's mess around with the rear suspension a bit more. So just a disclaimer, I am nowhere near a professional when it comes to suspension setup, so I'm just going to mess around and hopefully you guys can point me in the right direction and correct my thinking and so on, so please feel free to do that. But yeah, I want to have less droop and just a bit more stiffness in the rear. Obviously I cannot change the oil, so I'm going to mess around with the spring rate or the spring. So I've got a few different ones here, and my first choice are going to be these red ones here from Kershaw. I've got a whole bunch of Kershaw ones. You can see the specs here. So by having less winds or less coils, it's going to have less let's see, compression. It's going to be stiffer, is my understanding. So if you have more coils, then it would be softer, and the spring rate increases, I believe. So yeah, I'm going to basically stiffen it up by using these springs. So let's go ahead, install the springs in the rear and see how it looks. So this is the spring I just pulled off the rear. You can see the length is much different, so it's going to sit much lower, right, with this one. So by adding this one, I'm going to raise things up a little bit, and of course I will need to screw this adjuster back up a little bit. So we'll see what we can do with these red springs. Okay guys, so I've installed the red springs on the rear. You can see the vehicle sits up much higher in the rear now. I would like to reduce the adjuster a little bit, or sorry, screw the adjuster back up a little bit to loosen them off a bit and see what happens, but I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Okay, and then the other side. Alright, so just to be clear, these are not the stock Vorza shocks. These are the old D8 shocks, so they are much shorter and they have more thread, so we'll have to take that into account when you're adjusting your shocks. Okay, I would say that's much better. Alright, let's take it for a spin. Alright, rear shocks ready, let's try. Ooh, it turns much different actually. How about on grass? Whoa, look at that. That was full turn. It seems to handle better on the grass, on the dirt than on the grass. Whoa, whoa. Yep. Alright, so the batteries don't really fit under the body very well once all these cables are sort of in the way. Here we go. I also need to trim down here where the steering is. You can see that. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. I feel like there's more grip after that spring change. I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't really do large jumps or anything, but it seems to be pretty solid. Off power, the steering is much better. Swings around quite nicely. Alright, well, next I might try stiffening up the front, and let's see how that works. So let me screw this down. There we go. Once again, the thread on these shocks is different to the ones you will receive with your stock Vorza. There's more thread on these, so just keep that in mind. Not immediate, not a noticeable difference. Try not to hit that white piece of concrete that knocks the car around a bit. Oh, that was good. Jumps very nicely. I quite like that setup. Full throttle. Alright, so I have had these ones installed in the Vorza so far. They are 70 millimeters long, 1.4 millimeters thick, and 7 coil. Okay, these are the ones I'm going to try now. They are a little thicker at 1.5 millimeters, but they are the same length, 70 millimeters, and the same number of coils as well. So 7. These will be a little stiffer, so we're going to try these next, see how it handles. Alright guys, so I've got the springs installed. I've kept the same position of the spring adjuster, and I've just changed out the spring, so we'll see how that changes things a bit. It's definitely stiffer and it's sitting up higher. Alright, so let's bash it, see how it runs. Alright guys, I've got the shock springs installed. Let's take it for a spin. Remember, they're thicker, so are much stiffer in the front, same in the rear. Alright. Not a whole lot of difference, but still good steering response. Off power steering's really good. On power is okay. Oh, maybe not. That's full steering right there. Off power is really good. These tires are pretty good considering they're the old D8S ones. They're the only tires I have actually. Whoa! Right, so that's what happened last time. That's how I broke my bulkhead. Hopefully it's okay now. Yeah, it looks good. Alright, keep going, apart from this part. I definitely need to trim these parts off the body. Runs really well. That's full throttle. I just got the HPI stock ESC in here. Thank you to my friend in Aussie once again. Just had to replace the fan on it, but other than that, runs fine. So shout out to him, my friend in Aussie. He's actually been really key in the development of these buggy parts. I sent him some prototypes and he's been testing them for me and putting them through hell, making sure they last. So, and yeah, he's part of the reason I have the aluminium shock protectors on the front shock tower there. So, but something I'd like to add is I think I might make them raw aluminium next time. As you can see, it's quite obvious when they get scratched up. It doesn't look so good. So I did choose the black color for some contrast between the shock tower and the protectors, but I'm not sure whether that was a good choice. So yeah, what do you guys think? All right, well anyway, I'm going to keep on bashing. And I just noticed my rear left tire needs to be adjusted, so I'll fix that up. Yeah, I'll keep on bashing and we'll finish up the video soon. If there's any problems, I'll let you know. Okay guys, so let's finish up the video here. I'm not going to make any more changes to the suspension. I'm happy with the way it runs now. So I hope you guys learned something. And remember, I'm not a suspension expert, so if you do have any suggestions or information, please feel free to comment below, and I'll be happy to listen and try some new things out. And yeah, just a few things I'd like to share. When you do receive your Draco shock towers, make sure you do not over tighten the nut here holding on the shock. You should have some play like this. The easiest way for this, to make sure this is the case, make sure the nut and the Draco shock standoff are flush here. That way you have some movement, front and rear. Reason is, I had a crash last week and smashed the rear shock tower. And yeah, I broke the shock cap because there was no, you need a little play so it doesn't you know, bend or anything from the impact. So yeah, I would recommend that. I've also upgraded my exploded views that are included with the shock towers, both Truggy and Buggy. Yeah, so these parts are available now on my website in the Draco store. We have the Buggy shock towers, we have the Truggy shock towers, we have the Vorza motor mount and the chassis braces. Both the motor mount and chassis braces are only for the Buggy and Truggy Flux platforms. The Truggy shock towers and the Buggy shock towers are for both Nitro and Flux. But there are also tower braces available that fit the Truggy Flux only for extra rigidity, stiffness and so on. And yeah, they're on my store right now, so please go ahead, check those out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, just to confirm, the shocks that I was using today are the old D8 shocks for the Buggy. So you can see those ones here. They're much shorter. They have more thread. So they would be different from your shocks that are included with the 2022 Vorza platform. They are all the same, all four corners, so not ideal for the rear of the Truggy, especially because you need those longer ones. But yeah, I've been using those on here, so just so you know, things may differ between this platform and your platform. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for watching. And see you in the next video.